Going to be a big challenge for us. We're going to have to be at our best. Very important December game. These games are individualized, one game at a time, high-stakes games, and we recognize that, and we're excited to play in a meaningful game in December, and we can't wait to get started. What questions?
John, do you expect Lamar to return this week?
Jameson, I knew you were going to ask that, or somebody was. There's probably a couple other injury questions coming up, and I think I'm going to climb behind the barricade of it's probably not the time to put a lot of information out there on our injuries, just for competitive purposes. So we're just going to let that develop and see where we go with it, and not try to, walk the tightrope of what we say.
This might fall under that, but if I may, last we saw J.K. Dobbins was a 37-yard rush at the end of the third quarter. He didn't get a carry in the fourth quarter. I don't remember seeing him out there. Did he suffer an injury or setback or anything, or was it part of the problem?
No. I mean, that's just, we were down by 10, got the ball maybe 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and it wasn't that we were opposed to running the ball, but when you run the ball, the clock runs, and we were looking at how many possessions we were going to get, and called more passes. I know we didn't run the ball in the fourth quarter once we got after 11 minutes. So you look back at that real hard and you say, yeah, we couldn't run it. We were hitting them with some good runs, and maybe we would have popped a few runs because we were doing well. That conversation is one that we had yesterday. But by the same token, you're down 2 scores, and it's going to be 2 possessions probably have a chance to get it back. So you want to make them as quick as you can. I mean, I know we did want to get the first score before we would have to onside kick. That was kind of one part of the discussion. So once we got to that second possession, at that point in time, we were definitely throwing the ball. So I think we're talking about that time, 11 minutes to maybe 8 minutes, where we could have done some runs at that point, and we talked about that.
John, you talked after the game about the passing game needing to be better, and it's no secret since early in the season it hasn't really been firing at a very high level. I mean, how do you consider tweaks, internally with the staff, and, someone taking on a bigger role as it pertains to the passing game? And I guess to build on that, what gives you confidence that Greg is still the guy that can get the passing game to a point where it needs to be for you?
Yeah, I mean, 2 things. First of all, I've got confidence in everybody. We have great coaches and great players at the highest level who are battling every single day to get everything as good as it can be. I mean, I can remember 3 weeks ago, all the questions I got were about the run game. What's wrong with the run game? Why can't we get the run game going, So you go to work. You go to work on that stuff. You tweak things. You tweak schemes. You move guys in and out. You get guys back. You do all the things you've got to do to try to get it rolling. And here we are sitting there where the run game's good, and now the questions are about the pass game, which, you're right, has not been where we need it to be, for certain reasons. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to keep working on it. So absolutely, all of our coaches, including Greg and everybody else, are fully capable of understanding the pass game and what we've got to do to get it done and scheming it up and all that kind of stuff. We can do things a lot better. We can look at what how much we're calling, how much motion and stuff we put in, all the football-related X and O stuff. We're definitely looking at really hard. The volume of what we do, all those kind of different things. And as to your first question, who's out there doing what? So who's out there doing what is a big part of it. What are they capable of doing? Some roles maybe don't fit guys. Certain routes don't fit certain guys. Sometimes you get in the game, you have no choice. You call a play, and some guys are just out there because that's the way it's rolling, that's who you've got. And you expect guys to be able to do everything, to a reasonable standard. But, yeah, what personnel groups we put out there and how we go about approaching our X and O plans the next couple of weeks are everything we've been talking about for the last day and a half. And we'll roll it out there on Saturday and, expect it to be really good.
What strides have you seen Tyler Huntley make, and what areas do you talk to him about improving on?
Yeah, I mean, you just look at the game. You go play by play, So to sit up here and give you some overall analysis, scouting analysis of any player right now, it's kind of hard to do. There's things that we've got to do better at, And I think just as a team, offense, defense, and special teams, you're always chasing communication. You're always chasing being on the same page because that's what leads to execution. Then you're chasing execution. As a coach, you got to dial back and say, okay, who are we doing it with? What are we doing? Is it the right things, and is it too much or not enough? So, and then you got to look at who you're playing against and say, well, what's going to work against them? What do we have to handle and deal with that they give you trouble with? and what can be effective against what they do, and then when do you call it? So that's the process. You know, it's a painstaking process that guys work really hard at. You know, so and that's what we're in the middle of that right now. We're grinding on that game plan right now.
Coach, to kind of piggyback off Luke's question, you talked about changing roles of guys and personnel on the field. Even in terms of coaches, have you guys talked about changing roles as far as different responsibilities amongst the coaching staff?
We're not getting all that. I mean, you guys can talk about all that, and I respect that. You know, I love the fans talking about everything they can talk about. We're together, man. We're a team. We're in here. We're spending all of our time getting ready for the Atlanta Falcons with every ounce of energy and fiber we got, with a bunch of very, very good people at what they do, you know, who understand everything about our team better than anybody else possibly could. You know, we're getting ready to play the game. So all of this stuff, we don't have time for that. You know, as Coach Belichick said, we're on to Atlanta. We're on to Atlanta. And all the you know, end of the bar talk conversation is for the people sitting at the end of the bar. You know, we're going to work hard to do the best we can and give them something to celebrate come Saturday afternoon. That's our goal, because we want it to be great. And we want our fans to be happy with it and be excited about it. But I also know this. Look around the league. It's December football. It's crazy. Did you watch the games? You did, right? It's crazy. It's like that every year. It's like that every week in this league. That's why it's the NFL. So it's not all going to be smooth sailing. You know, there are going to be times when you're going to go out there and you're going to have a bad day. You know, we don't want them. Nobody's more ticked off about it or can't sleep about it more than the coaches and the players. You know, but the thing is, you got to pull yourself off the mat and go win the next game. You know, and you can't. It doesn't. And we don't have the luxury of waiting until Saturday to go win it. We got to win it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in our preparation, right? So that's what we're doing. You know, that's where our focus is.
I know that fans at the end of the bar, however you're describing right now, but after the game, Tyus Bowser put on his Instagram page these papers that were somewhere that said "Fire Greg Roman." Did you talk to him about that? And what's your policy with your players?
Yeah, we talked about that. You can ask Tyus about it. He'll tell you. You know, he was great about it when I talked to him about it, and I think he talked to Greg about it. But yeah, just ask Tyus about that. You know, that's something that when something like that happens, and you communicate with one another, and you find out there's really not much there, you know, in terms of what people are thinking and all that, and that's it. I mean, I could go on a social media rant, you know, maybe not a rant, but I don't know why anybody lives there. I don't live there. You know, I don't care about any of that. I'm not foolish enough to live in that world. You know, it's just not for me. So I'm not worrying about it. But if it affects us as a team, then you talk to people about it. And you find out we got great guys who have good intentions all the time. You know, and if they didn't, they wouldn't be here. You know, we wouldn't have them here. So you're talking about Tyus Bowser specifically. You know, Tyus Bowser is a great guy who wants to win and has good intentions and wants to be a great teammate. And we talked about that, and he's in a good place, and we're past that. So.
Are you interested in how they got it?
I don't care. I don't care. I'm not security. You know, security's got to worry about that. Paper.
Are you also climbing behind the barricade with regards to Peters and Campbell? Or do you have any updates on them?
Yeah, that falls into that same category. Absolutely. That's actually mainly where the category is. Yeah.
John, has it been, I guess, disappointing that with the success of the run game past 2 weeks, the play-action passing game for you guys really hasn't correlated to the amount of success maybe that you'd expect from it?
Yeah. Again, not making any grand statements about it. We hit a nice scissors route on the sideline to Mark at the end of the half. Other ones we didn't execute as well for whatever reason. So you expect those things to pop open, you know, and we'll be looking to try to get that done on Saturday for sure.
John, on the other spectrum, do you know the scenarios? There's kind of a lot of scenarios where you can clinch a playoff spot this
I have not been apprised of that yet by my crack staff over there, but I'm happy to hear them.
It's you have to win, I believe, and 2 of the 3 teams in as far as Dolphins, Jets, and Patriots. 2 of those teams have to lose in conjunction with your win, and you get in.
And there's a bunch of time.
Yes.
Well, the thing I would take from that is that we have to win, right? We have to win. So that'll be our focus. And then this next thing I'll have to learn just from a strategic standpoint, is, win versus tie. That'll be something that we'll want to know going into the game. If there's a meaningful difference in that.
Obviously, David Ajabo he made his debut. Was there a particular checkpoint that he hit to finally get on the field? And I mean, he didn't play a lot, but what did you think he did with those couple of snaps?
That's a good question. Yeah, it was circumstances, in terms of not having one less DB available for the game, and we had an opportunity to get him up. And then the next opportunity is to try to play him more. I was hoping he'd get 5, 6, 7 plays. We've got a lot of healthy outside linebackers right now, so it's hard to get those guys enough snaps. Our discussion among those guys right now is we got a lot of really good players. When you get out there, play with your hair on fire, which those guys want to do. And I think David Ajabo adds into that mix. So, it does mean, he takes more snaps. It's fewer snaps for other guys. That's just the way it works because they all play the same position. And the incredible thing is look at the difference between early in the year when we didn't have any outside backers. And I think when JPP got here, he played, 53 snaps his first game or something like that? So it's a good problem, but it's challenging because there are going to be guys that you aren't going to get as many snaps as you might say, wow, he could use some more snaps. We'd like to see him. And definitely David falls in that category.
James Prochet played 3 offensive snaps. 2 of them were, he was targeted on 4th down on those ones. Are those plays that you just have with Prochet in mind specifically?
Yes.
Okay.
Great, thank you.